Hey everybody, let me know if you can hear. Let me know if and when you can hear. I'm going to play this and play a little guitar, and let me know if you can hear the voice and the guitar. All right. Well, it looks like a few people are on. Maybe we'll wait a little bit to see if there's a couple of other folks that'll come on. Let me say hi to, haven't heard it's that you can hear me, but I'm hoping. I haven't done this in a while. Of course, YouTube changed its interface once again. It's constantly changing, and so not really sure everything's connected. Looks like maybe, I haven't had a response yet, so I'm not sure that people can hear. So let me say hi to Matt. Always good to see you, Matt. Ron Shack, TBA, hey. Mark Siebes, looks like you're on as well. Could one of you let me know that you can hear? I'm getting a little bit nervous at this point. Mark Davich, hey, good to see you. Yeah, it looks like it's not happening today. So, oh, okay, Chillin' It says it sounds fine. Thanks, man. Really appreciate getting some feedback on that. It's helpful. I can't listen to it because it'll cause a huge echo, and you would hear the echo. So I can't listen to it. I just have to take your word for it. I tested, of course, beforehand, but that's, that's without the YouTube stuff. Do I prefer the humbucker Telly or Strat? That's a great question. So before we get going, let me answer a few questions. We're going to do some improv over what I think will be a pretty cool chord progression today. And what I want to show you is the different approaches that I take, and from really simple to more options. I'll just say it's not really complex, but more options. So let's see. So first things first, probably noticed I'm using this Harley Benton Telly, and that I got. They actually sent it to me to evaluate, which I really like. And so it came with I got the Strat as well with the silver sparkle. I actually prefer this one. It plays better. It's got I don't know, this is dark roast neck. I guess I'm a dark roast person, but anyway, a dark roasted neck. And it just feels better. The balance is really good, and it's a great guitar. Cut off like a PR or cut on the upper bout in a way that's really comfortable, like a PRS, and that's in both the front and the back. So I can show that. You can see that. So it's a really nice guitar. This is an addictive guitar. So I'm going to review this one in a little bit too. Anyway, great. Call that feedback. Yeah. All right. Pink Floyd lesson, the echo part. All right. Yeah. So which song is that? Like Run Like Hell, Matt, or some other one? All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's get going to. We'll take some questions in a minute, but let's get going on the improv. And the Telly really is. It sounds. I don't know if it's just the Strat too. It's the Strat to me sounds a little bit thin. Like the pickups are a little bit thin, but this feels a little bit more full. Well, I'll let you hear some of it. Yeah, and it's pretty too. I like that. I like the natural finish. It's nice with the pickups just kind of right into it. That's pretty nice. Okay, let's get into. It's not a PRS Custom 24, but it is cut out like that. Yeah, and if you have a PRS that's cut out like that, it's really good, and it's hard to go back after you have something like that. That's just so comfortable. All right, so let's first listen to the groove, and then we'll improv a little bit. Okay, so here it is. Gotcha, Matt. change right there. Interesting chord. Back. Another interesting chord. Back to normal. First key. Okay, so let's kind of go over the chords now. The chords are pretty interesting, and you can hear it's just kind of a nice, chilled soul groove, and we'll improvise it in a second, and then I'll show you kind of what I'm doing. So, but the chords are basically one time through. We've got see if I can lower this just a little bit. One time through, we've got a C major 7. Sorry, D. It's a 2-5-1 in C. So this is in C. D minor 7, G7, C major 7, and then there's a transition chord. It's just a C sharp diminished, and then again we'll hear the 2-5-1, D minor 7, G7. C major 7. Now we're going to go to the 4 chord, which is F major 7. So there's a 2-5 preceding that. So G minor 7. And then a C dominant, like C ninth. F major 7. Now here's the interesting chord that's out of almost every key. A flat. C. Or C major 7, either one, C. Another interesting chord coming up here, A7. And then D minor 7, G7, C major 7, or C. So it's really a series of 2-5-1s that start out, and this key center, the home key in this one is C. So how do you approach this sort of thing? You've got a lot of changes going on there. And the first approach that you might want to take is just trying something that's pretty simple. Like if you play C major, let's say we take a modal approach and we do C major or C Ionian, we're going to have to change a little bit because some of those notes are going to be out of the keys that it's changing to with the chords. But what if we take something really, really simple and we just say, well, we're going to play C major pentatonic over it or something like that. You know what? I think I'm going to improvise for just a little bit, and we'll see, what some of the ideas are. All right. So let's give it a shot. I'll wait till it kind of cycles around. Here we go. See if I can show you more that keep the fretboard. More time. Okay. So lots of cool stuff you can do in that, and lots and lots of good stuff that you can do in that. And kind of the first approach that you could take, I think, and I think the simplest approach is, as I was saying, those chords, while they're not all diatonic to C, you can take C and F. Those two keys look a lot the same if you look at pentatonics only. So let's try just using the C major pentatonic, and we'll kind of gloss over some of the chords that are a little bit different. So if we look at that first part of the progression, which is D minor 7, G7, C major 7, C diminished. Now we can ignore that C diminished and just play nothing, and that's going to still sound good in the C major pentatonic. But later we can add that in if we want to. Anyway, that's all key of C, and that's going to work. C major 7's fine. D minor 7, G, C major 7, of course, C major pentatonic is going to be fine. And then G minor 7 to C ninth to F. We can still do it there. C major pentatonic is going to be still pretty safe. We may have to avoid a couple of notes, but it's still going to be pretty safe. And then we're going with C, A flat. We'll get to that in just a minute, but that's going to be the toughest chord to handle, I think, in that one. Then we'll go back to C. Obviously, C major pentatonic is going to be fine over that. A7, we're going to find that C major pentatonic is going to be fine for that as well, and I'll tell you why. And then we're back to D major 7, or D minor 7, G, and C. And of course, key of C is fine for that. So let's just try doing this with a major pentatonic only and see how it works. It's not going to be as interesting, but you know, it'll still be safe. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, here we go. Oops. All right. So on that one, you can see that the major pentatonic works fine. There were a couple of notes that I really had to struggle with trying not to play. And there's one chord in particular, the A flat, you've got to be really careful with. And that's just because over that chords, if we're looking over the chord A flat, we only have C in that. So let's see how we can make it a little bit more interesting. One of the ways is to add in some notes that fit the key a little bit more and make the solo a little more melodic. There's a couple of different ways to do that. One is to simply use the key. So when it switches to the key of F, it's nice to be able to play that change, and I'll show you what happens there. So part of that is, let's play this again, and I'll kind of, talk it through. Now I'm going to use some C major and some notes in between. So I'll play a little modally here. Oops. Start it again. Okay, so this is C. Okay, right there, where it shifts from the key of C to the key of F, you're basically playing, that's a 2-5-1 in C, and then you're going to this G minor, C dominant to an F. The difference there is simply the B to the B flat if we're going to the key of F. So by emphasizing that B flat, you can really hear it. So by emphasizing that B flat, you can really play that change, and the audience will hear it. People who are listening to it will hear it, and they'll sound different, and I think a little more interesting than that C minor, just the major pentatonic. So that's one thing you can do. So just play a little more modally and look at those changes. So there's a key change to F. Make sure you play that. The second thing that you can do, and that I would highly recommend, is when it goes to the A flat. Now the A flat is kind of an interesting chord there. The composition is basically, a lot of times people will go to, and Embry Smith likes to comment on this, borrowed chords. So it's a composition that uses a borrowed chord from a parallel scale. Instead of staying in F major, it goes to F minor for a moment before transitioning back to C. And so instead of playing F minor, it plays the major that has a relative minor of F, which is A flat. Now, if you don't like that, just think of playing the same chord of a color. A minor third up is often a nice compositional device, and that's what's going on there. But it gives it sort of an outside sound. So what can you do on that one? Well, you can either play an A major. You can say, hey, I'm going to play an A major and play modally. Or what I think is probably the best thing to do is just to play chord tones until you transition back to the C. So that's another thing that you can do. So play modally, play that A flat exactly. So let's try that one. Let's try that. And we're still going to ignore the diminished and the A7. We're going to ignore those two things. So let's try that one. I'm going to play modally for both the change to the key of F and that change to the A flat. Okay? Okay, we're just going to end it now. All right, here we go. Starting out in the key of C, so I'll play modally in C. Now going to key of F. A flat. Back into the key of C. Now we're just playing the end. All right. So what's fun about this is you can just play the normal stuff and it sounds great. You can just play C major pentatonic if you want, and it's going to sound great. But if you want to do more, you can take into account some other things that you can do. So now I want to handle the last pieces, and that is that diminished. So it's in the beginning where we play D minor 7, G7, C major 7, now the diminished. That's one right there. And also in the end, where it transitions from that F to the A flat to the C, and now another key chord, that A7. It turns out that there's a similar idea there with that diminished. It's just a passing chord, and it uses a lot of the same tensions. That A7, believe it or not, is very close to a C diminished. Now, or C sharp diminished, not a C diminished. I said C diminished. And it's just a transition chord to get somewhere. And if we look at a C sharp diminished and those notes, another way of playing it would be here. Oops, I'm sorry. C sharp diminished. We see that the B flat diminished is the same, except is basically has the middle kernel of it, if you will, is the same as with the A7 chord. And they both make sense. I'm sure you've heard this sort of diminished thing where you do this. Or you've heard that. You can always think of a diminished 7 chord as like a 7, but with a different bass note. So for example, if we play a C7, it looks like this. If I play a C sharp diminished, all I really do is I change this bass note. So what does this amount to? All of this amounts to really simple stuff, and it may sound complex, but what it amounts to is a couple of things that we can do on that diminished or on that A7 chord that are going to be basically the same. If we think about blues, let's just think of a simple thing here. If we think about blues, let's say we're playing A7 to D7, etc., right? What's something that we could play over that A chord, that A7 chord? Answer? Oh man, what's the first thing that comes to mind? How about an A minor pentatonic? Yeah, how about that? Or how about an A blues scale? Right? So how about that? When we hit that diminished, what if we just we're playing a C major pentatonic? Does everybody see the closeness to the C major pentatonic and the A blues scale? They're basically the same scale. I'll play the C major pentatonic. That's a C major pentatonic. Now I'll play the A blues scale. Right? It's the same sort of thing. So simply, over that A, you can stay in your C major or whatever, but just play a little bluesy line there. And it's going to sound great. It's going to sound like you know what you're doing on that chord. Now, if you want to, you can also play a B flat diminished or a C sharp diminished. And I did that a couple times. You've probably heard that. And that sounds good too. So let me emphasize that one in this next time I'll play, and I'll just show you. First I'll do the blues scale over those chords, and the second time, or I'll just do a bluesy lick over those two chords, and the second time I'll do diminished type of things, okay? So first time, and I'm still going to do the modal stuff, all right? So we're just adding it all back in. Okay, let's start at the whole thing there now. Here we go. Starting from the top. Okay, here we go. That was the blues. Hey, now I'm going to use diminished. Oops. One more time, we'll use some diminished. All right. Well, there we go. There's lots and lots of different things, and I just love, personally, I just love playing that kind of stuff where there's scope. You can play it from a simple point of view, or you can play more complex. I just like it's a lot of fun. Oh, all right. Yeah. So, hey, if anybody wants to know where some of these backing, there's a ton of backing tracks that you can get from Bandcamp, and I'm trying to think of what it's elevated jams. They have all great stuff. It does tend to be like this, but you can get Dirty Blues or you can get whatever. It's really nice stuff. All right, let me catch up on some of the comments, and then I think I might leave leave everybody to their Sundays. All right, let's see. Always reminds me of UBS. Found this happy place. Nice game. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So Chillin' It said A minor pentatonic. Right. So I don't think of A minor pentatonic when it's playing, such a major key, D minor 7, G7, 2-5-1 in C. But it's obviously it's the same as A minor pentatonic. Yeah, that's right. And I kind of like how easy it is to kind of throw in those bluesy licks, and it sounds nice. It sounds nice. Mark David's is a great fit. Oh, thank you, man. I've been slacking off my chord studies. Yeah, it's nice to be able to take something that's simple and be able to play with it, right? I mean, you can play a backing track like this, you can play it at different levels. You can try playing C major pentatonic through the whole thing. And it's nice, you've got your safe zone. And then if you want to try and do other things with it, it's fine. I mean, what I try and do is I try and think of melodic things, like if I'm singing something along to it, and then to see if that's going to work. I won't do that this lesson or this time around, but a number of people on here know that's my thing is trying to develop your ears that way by singing, and singing melodies that you think are going to be good. And then trying to replicate those on guitar. You can't always just improvise them right away. I think really good players can. Obviously somebody like George Benson can, but not everybody. But I think that's really important because it helps you get better ideas than just sort of like, it's easy to rip off, whatever, some lick-based thing that's based off a scale, but music isn't scales, so it's good if you can make it musical. All right. Thank you, Ron. Signature of Venus. Oh, do tell, TL. By Schofield. Oh, okay. I'll check it out. Signature of Venus. John Schofield, I think, is what you're talking about, TL. Yeah, Philippine Fandango says, I see you're digging the Harley Bentons. Really sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, this I think is an even better sounding guitar. It's a little less thin, it's a little deeper sounding. Um, and like I said, I think the neck is actually better on this. It's more to my liking. It's a little chunkier. It's supposed to have the same profile, but it just doesn't. And I tend to like a little bit of of heft in the neck, and that's fine. But it's got a nice width on it. It's not too wide. It's not too skinny, and depth on it. So it's supposed to be a Fender modern C profile with a 12-inch radius. Um, but I find this one's a little bit chunkier than the Fender Modern C. The other Harley Benton is probably exactly a Fender Modern C. Um, so if you're into that, that's what these necks are supposed to be. So maybe they're off a little bit. I don't know. Loud Jazz album. Okay, Schofield. I'm going to check it out. Saw your lesson on I'm going to find another you. It's the best on YouTube. Break down the soloing as well. Well, thanks, Pratik. I appreciate that. I appreciate. You mean the soloing in that song, or or soloing in some other Mayer or some other song? There's a big delay on this, so I'm going to be looking for some other stuff. Thank you, Rob Videos. Glad you liked it. Ron Shack, thank you as always. Ron's always on here. And I thought I saw Frank should show what the C major pentatonic consists of. Some might not know it. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. So the C major pentatonic. Um, Starts from the most important thing to start out with the okay, got it, Pratik, um, is to understand where this is coming from. Let's look at the chord. So here's a C major triad. C major triad has three notes in it. It has a C, it has an E, and it has a G. And every C chord that you've ever seen repeats those over and over. Hey, Embry. Yeah, thanks. And I just trimmed the beard. Look at this. I'm getting to look like a werewolf in the back there. All right, so we've got a C, E, and a G. And I talked about borrowed chords earlier for you, so you might want to check that out. So let's see. I've got a C, I've got an E, and I've got a G. And every one of those are repeated. So the C major pentatonic basically just fills in a few other notes. Penta means five, so we've got five notes. So we've got a C, the one. So we'll often talk about a triad, a major triad, as the one, the three, and the five, and that comes from the scale, a C major scale. All the theory comes from at least most of the theory comes from uh, major scales. So on a C major pentatonic, we've got the one, we've got the two, we've got the three, we've got the five, we've got the six, and that's it. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So it skips the seventh. And that's why if you're playing the C major pentatonic, if we look at the seventh, let's just take a look at those notes, all right, shall we? So in a C major seventh, or in the C pentatonic, then we've got C, we've got D, we've got E, we've got G, and we've got A. And then we're back to the C. What you don't find in there is the B. That B is not in the major pentatonic. And so when we skip from a C major to an F major, the only difference between an F major and a C major is that B goes to a B flat. So when you play a C major pentatonic, you're slipping that under the rug, so to speak. that B or B flat doesn't even come into play. And that's good and bad. The good part about it is you can't hit that flubby note. So if you're playing over an F, you can't play this, which is kind of clashy. You can't play that B. And on the other hand, you can't play that B flat either. You can't play that B flat either, which is an integral part of the change. So while it's kind of like, you know, if you not to do too much, this is not to be a political cast here or a philosophical one, but if you see all the changes that are going on in the U.S. anyway, a lot of protesting that's going on, it's sort of like when you're playing the C major pentatonic, it's sort of like sitting on a couch. You're not going to piss off anybody, but you're not going to be part of that change. But when you play that major scale, right, you're being part of that change. You're showing that you understand how the music is changing. And so it's good and bad. You're not going to flub up, and that's the safe part. But on the other hand, you can't really demonstrate as well the changes in the music. Does that make sense? Wow, that analogy was deep. All right. Got the Corona hair going. Yeah. Yeah, I got the Corona hair going too. I don't know, you know, I've kind of liked it. It's like I'm feeling like I'm living the 70s again. Going to 3 note per string. Oh no. 3 note per string. Well, I don't usually think about three. I don't play too much 3 note per string anymore because I think I try and play like I think a lot of blues players or jazz players do, although I'm not a jazz player. I think more in terms of the chord tones than the scale tones. And yeah, you know, I mean, 3 notes per string, you can certainly play very fast and technical on that kind of stuff. But anyway, I don't want to get down on 3 notes per string. It's just not really my bag. I saw somebody commented on that earlier. When I was younger, I used to really try to play fast and what I thought was technical, and then I at some point cared a lot less about that. I don't know. I guess I didn't. I like melodic play. Not that guys like Vai or Satriani can't play melodically. They can, obviously, and do. But I don't know. I admired guys like Larry Carlton. So that's kind of where my play went and where my ears went to. Let's see. Mark wants to be Bob S. Bob Seger? No. I like Bob Seger a lot. I mean, it's funny. Unless you're Alan Holdsworth and nothing clashes. Yeah, that's true. Alan Holdsworth he could do anything on that guitar, man. He was just he was the best. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, Bob Seger. Yeah, I don't know. I love Bob Seger growing up in Detroit. He was really a Detroit icon, and I'm going to center the thing here. And so I still have a soft spot, but and his old rock stuff I just really dig. That R&B sort of rock, you know, Steve Winwood type of stuff. It's really good. Mitch Ryder was another one. But yeah, when he hit it big, I guess I don't blame him. He hit it big and he sort of became more pop, and he still produced some good stuff. I mean, I still like stuff like a Rock. I have a soft spot for even Against the Wind, which I like a lot. Yeah. But yeah, he got a little softer. He stopped rocking. I did get a new guitar, Max. We talked a lot about it. This was actually a surprise. I didn't order it. I got it, which is kind of sweet. And I'm really digging it. Yeah. It's I reviewed the Harley Benton actually on Thursday. This appears in that video, but I just had gotten it at that time. And I didn't have time to really play it. But this one I like even more than that Silver Sparkle. Let me see if I have that Silver Sparkle down here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I've got that in another room. But I think I'm going to keep this one. This one's really sweet. Um, and people, the pickups on it are actually pretty darn good. Roswell pickups. I've since learned that they are not Harley Benton House brand. That they are a pickup maker in and of themselves, which is great. But these are Alnico 5s, real responsive, and it's got a coil split, so you can play you can hear that power cut. You can play the R&B type stuff or the Motown stuff by splitting that coil or come back. It's nice. It's a nice versatile guitar. Let's see. Slow melodic is kind of like candy for the ear. Love you, Mark, but this is not soulful to me. Quite good. Oh, there's lots of different things that people would call soul. Would you call Al Green soul? I would. These are chord progressions that like an Al Green would play. Respect. Yeah, I don't know. Is that R&B? I don't know. It just says soulful. I don't think it's soul. So anyway, whatever floats your boat, man. Whatever floats your boat. I like Retha too. It's all good. It's all good. And it's very different than, say, I saw Betty Wright died the other day. This would be like sort of Betty Wright's, stuff like off of Pure Love or things like that. It's all there, right? So if you listen to Betty Wright on the same album, you've got Pure Love and you've got Cleanup Woman. And Cleanup Woman is more on the Respect type of thing. And Pure Love is more on the Al Green side. And then you've got the stuff like Natural Woman too, which is different. That's not upbeat, soulful, right? It's a groove sort of thing, like Little Melvin stuff. So it's a pretty wide variety. Pretty wide. All right. Yeah, that's good. So, TL. So, TL and everybody. So, I've been starting to put stuff up on Teachable. I haven't been advertising it, but I'm doing much more full songs, and I'm going to do them a la carte. So, one of the things when I did the 70s rock was that, we bundled up 6 of these from 1970 together and priced that and had that all together. And that's great. But I think a lot of people would rather just pick a la carte and choose song by song. So what I'm doing is I'm starting to put up a few of those. So if you check out the Teachable link, and I think I put a link in the video here. I don't mean you need to go now, but I haven't sent it out to the mailing list or anybody like that. Just because I'm not trying to necessarily advertise it right now. But if you want to, you can go up there. And the reason I'm saying this is because one of the first ones I did was Dock of the Bay. So obviously Steve Cropper is playing all over that one. Yeah. Oh. Oh no. Embry, what? Robin Ford's live? Oh, go see Robin Ford. Go see Robin Ford. I don't know that he was live. Is he on? He's live on True Fire right now. He's good. He's as good as they get. Robin Ford is another one of my players that I'm totally into. Yeah. Okay. So Pratik asks, I talked about singing the melody and then playing it on the guitar. Can I elaborate on that? Sure. So it's really is pretty straightforward. Starting out, if you are trying to play a melody on the guitar. And I tell this to a lot of people. One person said, "Don't tell me to visualize a tree if you're getting me to paint a tree," and that's not what I'm doing here. So if I want to sing, I don't know. Let me think of what would be a good melody, and I want to learn how to play that on guitar. I do have to sing it, and I have to be willing to play it wrong. And if you can do that over time, you get better and better. And I still need a lot of work, but like, so let's do something like "All of Me." You may not be familiar with that one, but let's give it. That's the first thing that came to mind. Ah, all of me. Why not take all of me? So if I can play that, ah, nope, that's not right. Ah, nope, that's not right. Ah, okay, I got it. I got the first note. All of. Nope, that's not right. Nope, that's not right. All of. I got it. And you write this stuff down, right? If you write it down, oh, I played the C there, and now I played the G. So C, G, all of me. No, me. There it is. All of me. Why not? You start getting better at it. And if you record yourself doing this, it's going to be embarrassing when you listen to it. But you know what? Close the door. Nobody else has to hear. And it does take work. But you can do this with anything you want. You don't need interval training. You just need to be able to sing and remember a note. And that's it. And the more that you do it, the better that you get at it. The better that you get at it. And then when you hear a song like I've Got Another You by John Mayer, you mentioned that earlier. If you want to play the melody to that, you can sing it, right? And then that comes in by playing that melody. That's going to help inform your solos. And it's all great stuff. It's all great stuff. A lot of times, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to correlate what that is with scales or chords. So, for example, with the All of Me example that I was just doing before, I played All of Me. That happens to be a C triad. And then, why not take? And now an E triad. All of me. Can't you see? I'm no good without you. Take my hand, etc. So, I mean, you can do that, and the more that you do it, the better it gets. All right, all right. Anyway, yeah, great. That's right, Pratik. It's like transcribing, but it's your own stuff. And I mean, you can transcribe somebody else's lyric too. You just have to be able to think of it. Yeah, yeah. It is. That is. TL. It sounds like you have a. Let's see. Mentor had me do the exact same. Sing every note and sing melodies, and then try to play them. Really helps muscle memory. Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And the benefit of that is that, you know, not for nothing, and I'm not going to get into the whole argument of technique versus feel, um, but suffice it to say that when somebody is being accused of too technical, I think what people are saying is that sounds like a musical exercise. Like somebody's playing a guitar exercise and not really thinking about music. And to me, it's fine that some of our ideas can come from that. Neil Sean's Neil Sean's I can't remember that exactly, but that part where he plays in lights, that's great. And it's great if he just did it that once or whatever. He's just coming down in fourths. But imagine, he went on for a minute doing. That sounds terrible. after a while, it stops having any sort of meaning whatsoever, and a listener tunes out to something like that. And I think, honestly, I think a lot of the same thing happens when we play these patterns, in minor pentatonics. It sounds great, or major pentatonics. It sounds great, once or twice when we're coming through it. That kind of stuff, playing Eric Johnson licks or whatever. And it's great and it seems flashy and we're playing fast. But if you don't come out of it in a good way, it's not going to happen. I was playing around with some Slash licks. I'm not a huge fan of Guns N' Roses, but I do admire Slash's play. And some of the stuff he does is very pattern play, and but he knows how to come out of it. Sort of like something. It was something like this in "Sweet Child of Mine." That lick is just a pattern. Up until there, it's a pattern, and if you keep going too long, it's going to bore people. But he comes out of it, and with that bend where he's really emphasizing a note. Now you might say, "Oh, yeah, that's not really enough. It's not really melodic," but at least he's giving some service, some lip service to, "Hey, I've got to make this musical." Right? So, and Page had his stuff too. It's all well and good, but you have to make it go somewhere, right? All right. Even if it's just, on electric guitar, a lot of things are just statements, That kind of thing can even be melodic, or you're making some sort of statement in a conversation. Joe Walsh used to do that kind of stuff all the time, just an angry slide at the end of his solo. Great way of saying that's the end, folks. I'm not going to tell you anymore. But yeah, good stuff. And singing is a good way to do that. To give you ideas that are more melodic rather than guitar based. They're music based. They're not guitar based. Anything that helps you be more music based, I think, is good. And Mark David says, work, 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 work. Yeah, but it's got to be fun. If it's not fun, you're going to stop. So to me, I think most people like hearing singers more than they do guitar players, including myself. When I listen to a song, I tend to listen to vocal music more than just, Satriani or whatever, certainly Yngwie. I can listen to Schofield, but again, Schofield's very melodic. He's playing a lot of melodies there. So, another great thing, I'll just mention this in passing, is taking a different instrument and transcribing that. Take a trumpet, transcribe a trumpet solo. Do something from like ballads from Chet Baker, ballads from the 50s. Those are great because they're nice and slow, and they have some neat notes in them that are going to change how you play, and you're not just ripping on a guitar lick. You're actually playing. I mean, brass and wind instruments tend to play more arpeggios. Anyway, all good stuff. Train the brain, not just fingers. It's all, well, I won't say it's all brain, TL, but it's largely that. If you want to play faster, a big thing in playing faster is listening to people who play fast. I'm not joking. If you listen to people who play fast, your brain is going to start figuring that stuff out quickly. It's the brain that's limiting. Of course, moving the fingers is all connected to the brain. So, yep. Great. That's great, Mark. Anything that helps. All right, gang. Well, I'm going to start doing. I don't know if I'm going to do quite as many of these YouTube live streams. I found a company that does pretty much they do a lot of charity stuff, and they have something that's a lot more responsive. So instead of just typing in comments, you can actually voice your comments in and participate in, I think, a more meaningful way. And I'm going to try and start doing those, and maybe ask for a little bit of up front so that it goes to make it all donations, not to me, but to some fund. Um, Not Heifer International, but something that goes directly to feeding people. Um, so maybe we'll try some of those instead, and that way people pre-register and we'll see what happens. But I'm going to try it. Maybe I'll try one or two for free, and you can just tip if you want, and then those tips will go to charity. But I'll let you know. It's called OFI. So the person who contacted me was a pretty cool person. So I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try. Let's see. You've been playing bass. Crazy how much it improves your ear. Yeah, you're right. Epidemic James Arcs. Don't know for sure about that one, but about the name, about whether I'm parsing it correctly. But you're absolutely right. Well, the bass matters a lot more in certain music. If you take jazz, for example, you can get rid of the guitar. The guitar is nice. I hate to say it, but it's not essential. Bass is essential. And so, you got to play the right notes. You can't be effing around. Can't just approximate. Got it. Thanks, James. So yeah, bass is a great one. You got to really hear the changes. EVH was classically trained pianist. He started on keyboard. Vi started on keyboard. Okay. Yeah. Those are, at least to the two instruments, to my mind, where I think people tend to be hand players rather than head players. And a lot of it, I think, is because, first of all, the instrument is visual. You can visualize the scales and the scale patterns. And so people start getting into scale patterns with both keyboard and with guitar. I also started out on piano and studied piano, I don't know, until I was around 20 or so. Then I stopped playing piano. I haven't played it since. It's terrible. Um, but hey, David, am I invisible? No, I can see you. Um, but yeah, knowing the keyboard is good. Knowing another instrument is good, even if it is another stringed instrument or a piano. I wish I would have done something like something where you have to work really hard to get a note out, like trumpet or something, or clarinet or something. Because you have to work so hard to get a note, so you got to make that note right, and you can't visualize it quite in the same way that you can on a guitar. So I think trumpet players don't suffer as much from just kind of like vomiting out notes. Guitar players and pianists do. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Technique helps you express yourself. Good bends. Now I'm looking back, David, because you were saying you're invisible. I didn't see that you asked any questions. um, so yeah, technique. Yeah, so there's technique in terms of like playing scales, and then there's technique in terms of understanding, in terms of playing, in terms of like vibrato and slides and all that kind of stuff that makes the guitar the kazoo that makes the guitar, and that's another big thing, right? So, for example, if you are playing an A, if you're playing something in A and you want to play an A note, do you slide up to it? Or do you bend? That's something that a guitar can do that a lot of other instruments can't do, is we can bend, like a vocalist can bend. We can't bend exactly like a vocalist can, but then again, we can jump around the way a vocalist can't as well. It's harder for vocalists to jump, 4 octaves instantly, but we can do it. We can come pretty close. So, all right, all right. Well, I think I'm going to take off. We're an hour into this, and I had a lot of fun today, but I got a lot of stuff, other things to do. So some work to do, unfortunately. some banking type of stuff. So got to get to that. I'm going to spend some time outside. So we'll see ya. Hey, thanks everybody for coming on. We've got 32 people on now, which is really nice. But anyway, thanks for coming on, and I hope you enjoyed yourself during some of this, or all of it. Okay. All right. Harmonica, yeah. So I'll just say goodbye to folks. Thanks for coming on. David Smith, thanks for coming on. Sorry for ignoring you, man. Didn't see that I was ignoring you. I think it's your avatar is pretty normal. I don't see anything. TL, thanks for coming on. Jeff McManus. Oh, hey, buddy, didn't see you on. Mark Davich, Ron Shack, Patrick, of course, Matt, TBA. I don't know if TBA's on anymore. Pratik, thank you for coming on. Epidemic James, thanks for coming on and commenting. Always good. TJ, good to see you on. And Robbie Love, of course. Frank, always good to see you. All right, Embreves, great to have you on there as well. Max, lots of other folks that are on. Blues Mahan. All right. We'll take it easy, and we'll see you in the videos. Don't forget to comment on things that you would like to see, and we'll see you on down the road. Okay, have a great